Hey everyone, and welcome back to the series of Python mini tutorials. So, in this video, I'm going to explain keywords and identifiers. So, let's get started with the keywords. First of all, keyword. A keyword is a reserved word in Python that has a special meaning. So, what is a keyword? Keyword is a reserved word. That is, it's a word that is already reserved by the Python compiler and it has a special meaning. So, for example, we have a keyword if, right? If has a special meaning, that is it is used in conditional statements. We have a special word while. This is also a special word or special reserved word that is used in while loops. We have something like false, which is used to denote the false boolean value. We have true, which denotes the truth value for true, and we have so many more, right? So basically a keyword is all these things that I already showed you, like false, true, if, else, elif. There are so many more. So it's basically a reserved word that is already reserved by Python and cannot be used by us for some other purpose. It has a specific and special purpose assigned already by Python compiler. So for example, we use if in conditional statements like if 2 is equal to 2. Let's say we want to print hi. Okay, so now if we run this, we get hi. This is as expected because we are using this if as a conditional statement here. So this means if 2 is equal to 2, that is the Python compiler is going to check this statement or condition. If this will be true, it will execute this thing, that is it will print hi, and that's what happened here. Now if we want to use if for some other purpose, like let's say we want to make if as a variable, if is equal to 2 and print if. Now what do you think is going to happen? This is not going to work because we cannot use reserved words or keywords for our own purposes. For that we have to use identifiers, which I am going to explain just in a few time. So let's try to run this and see what we get. See, we got invalid syntax error. You can see in the bottom we got invalid syntax. It's saying that the syntax is not correct here. It's because we are using a keyword and trying to assign the keyword with a value. That is, we are trying to make a keyword as a variable name, which is not going to work. So in this case we have to change it. Let's just say we named it ABC, and now this will work because ABC is not a keyword, so it will accept it properly. And you can see we got 2, so it worked. Now one more thing, you can see this function print, right? It is also already defined in Python for printing something. Now is print a keyword? The answer is no. Listen, print is not a keyword. For example, let me just show you. If I assign print with 3 and uh, hold on. Yes, let's say if I make a variable called print and store a value 3. And now if we want to print the value of print, which is a weird sentence to say, but let's say we we made a variable called print and stored a value. First of all, let's comment this thing out. So let's see if just making a variable with print works or not. And it does. We did not get any error, so that means print is not a keyword. We can make variables with print. We can define our own things with print, so it's not a reserved word. But we know that print is used to display some text. Then how print is not a reserved word? See, the reason is print is a predefined function, and a function can never be a reserved word. Okay, so basically a function is also something like, it is also defined by some programmer. Maybe it's by the developer who developed Python, but it's just not a keyword. We can use a function as variables, although it's not recommended because see, if we try to, let's say, print the value of print, it will not work. It will say int object is not callable. Now why, what is happening here? Let me explain. We are assigning first of all the value of 3 in this variable called print. Now then we are trying to print this value, right? But what is happening is this print is 3, of course, so it should print 3, but the outside print is actually also 3 because we have replaced the value of print. Its previous value was the function that was used to print something. For example, let me just say print hi. So if I actually run this, you will see that just a second, you will see that hi will get printed. You can see we got hi, but after hi we got an error that int object is not callable. So before assigning print equals to 3, the print function is properly working, but after that what is happening is we have replaced the original value of print with an int value. Its original value was a function that was used to print something, but now as we have replaced this print with an int value 3, uh, this print is not going to work because it's now an integer and not a function. So that's why we are getting int object is not callable. So now if we remove this from here and we want to, let's say, print 3, this time it will work. So using predefined functions as keywords are not recommended at all, so don't use that. If you have to do that at all, what you can do is print and add an underscore after it, and then you can assign some variables. So this is basically, you can say, a Python convention for it. Now let's take a look at identifiers. So see, identifier, an identifier is a name given to identify a variable, function, or any other object. So basically what we were doing just right now, that is, we were discussing about print function, right? So print function was actually an identifier. You can see here an identifier is a name given to identify a variable. So basically an identifier can be a name of a variable, function, or any other object that we create in Python programs, right? For example, it can be class, module, and any other object you can imagine. So for example, let's say a is equal to 2, b is equal to 3. So here a is actually a variable name that is holding the value 2. Now a is an identifier here and not a keyword because it's the name of a variable. It's used to identify a variable that holds the value of 2, and b is the identifier that is used to identify a variable which holds the value of 3. So a and b are two separate identifiers, we can say. Similarly, if we define a function, let's say func, and let's add an argument of arg, and let's just say it returns the uh, one added to the argument value. So now if we want to call this function, let's say we want to store this in a variable called c and use func with an argument of 45. So what do you think? First of all, pause the video and try to think what will be the value that will go inside c. Now let's try to print c here. First of all, let's see what we get. We got 46, and it's clear because we have basically defined a simple function that returns a value added with 1. So we passed the value 45 in that, and this 45 after going in this function came as 46 because it added 1 to 45 and returned back, so it became 46, and this whole thing became 46. So the value of c became 46, and now when we printed c, we got 46 as the output. So it was simple enough. Now here the thing that you have to understand is func is an identifier here because it's the name of a function, okay, and it's not a keyword because obviously it's not a reserved word. It's just a name given by us. But yeah, def is a keyword here. It's not a identifier. Don't confuse this with an identifier. It is used to create functions. Def keyword is used to create functions like func. So if we want to change it to defa, it will not work. But if we want to change this this to like funk abc, we can do this will work, because we can change identifiers but we cannot modify keywords because it's already been defined by Python for us. So a keyword can be a variable name, a function name, and similarly if we make a class, let me just actually do that right now. And hold on, let me just show a comma b. So you can see we got the value of a comma b, that is 2 comma 2 3 here. So a and b are also identifiers. So now let's actually make a little class here. Let's say class test, okay, and let's add an init method self. So if you don't know about classes right now, you don't have to worry too much about it. Just understand a class is a template of something through which we can create some objects, right? So it's basically, you can understand like it's a custom data type. It's a data type that we are defining ourselves. Self dot value is equal to value, and we will take the value in init function. And yeah, that's it. Let's just say we created this class here, okay. Now if we want to make an object out of this class, what we can do is, let's say we want to make an object called t, and t is equal to test. And now we have to pass a value here. So for value, let's pass 34, and if we run this, it works properly. Basically we have made an object t of this class test. So basically this class name is also an identifier, and this object that we created here is also an identifier, because these values are provided by us only, okay. But this keyword class is a actually a keyword, okay. This word class is a keyword and not an identifier. So that's it. So class names and object names are also identifiers. Now one more thing I'm going to explain. If you want to get all the keywords printed out in your console, what you can do is import keyword. For example, you just want to, let's say, check how many and what keywords are actually available in Python. So you can just check it. First of all, you have to import a module called keyword, import keyword, and now you can print them using keyword.kw list. So basically kw list is a sequence inside this keyword module, you can say. And now if we run this, you can see at the bottom we got all the keywords. We have false, none. This is basically a list, you can say. True, and, as, assert, async, and a lot more. We can see some familiar ones like import. It's also a keyword that we just use to import the module keyword. And we also have else, elif. We also have def that we just discussed. We also have class that we just discussed, right? So we have a lot more. We also used return in the function, okay. So we also have while, and we also have if, I guess somewhere, yes. So you can see there are a lot of keywords here, and these keywords cannot be used as identifiers. That is, cannot be used as some variable names, function names, or object names. So yeah, I hope you understood the difference between keywords and identifiers in this session. So this is it for this session on Python mini tutorials. I hope you understood about this, and if you have any doubts, please feel free to comment down below, and also give us some feedback of how you are feeling about our content. And you can also discuss doubts related to programming on my Facebook page, that is www.facebook.com/technopuzzle. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.